What is going on, Gen Nation? Thank you for anyone who jumped in. Feel free to join in on the chat. My name is Spartacris. I'm here for the Generational Gaming and Entertainment Network. This would be my show on Tuesday. I call it the Theater Room. We're on episode 19. I moved it to Wednesday because for the next few weeks, I want to be able to talk about Loki, and I don't want to have to wait a whole week to talk about it. I watched it earlier today. I'm caught up on the first two episodes. Already, I'm gonna kind of jump right into it real fast. I can already say after two episodes, it's probably my favorite MCU show on TV right now. Definitely the best MCU property or show on Disney Plus. And I'm gonna go into a little bit of a deep dive on some of the bigger points that I took away from it, and I'll go into more of my opinion on it. But before I do, for anyone who might be new, we're all over the place. Make sure you check us out. Generational Gaming and Entertainment Network. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter. You can find us under the Generational Gaming and Entertainment Network, or GGEN for short. We're all over the place. The Facebook in particular, that's where you get most of your updates, most of your news, a lot of the interaction with the community, and it's growing and growing and growing. We have announcements coming, giveaways coming, tournaments, and other just big news coming. So, if you haven't joined yet, please do so and let people know. We're trying to do big things here, and we got a lot coming. Not just merch, we also have a lot of other giveaways we want to do that we've been working on behind the scenes, and just a lot of big announcements. And then before I jump into my topics for today, just as an FYI, keep an eye out on Twitch if you're into gaming videos, into watching people stream. TheCaptain, One Shot, ScytheX, and myself playing games across the board. Call of Duty, first-person shooters, the Avengers on PS5. I just finished Resident Evil Village on PS5. Now I'm knee-deep in Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, which is a game, as a gaming nerd, it's sad to say I've never beaten it, and I'm determined to change that now. So, without further ado, there really wasn't, I guess because the E3 just happened, Mythic Quest, I feel like it skipped a week. One of the big things coming out today, starting tonight, is Dave Season 2 on FXX. If you haven't watched it, it's a great show. It's funny, it's heartfelt, and it's just a good show. If you like Lil Dicky as a rapper, you'll love him on the show. In particular, it seems like it's loosely based on his path into stardom. It's worth watching. But that starts tonight. I believe there's 2 episodes starting the season, so don't miss those. I'll talk about them next week. But now I really just kind of want to focus on Loki. There's probably way too much to talk about, and I don't want to kind of just bore everybody with my own personal opinions. I just want to point out things that I've seen, kind of come up with my own little theories and whatnot. If you have some of your own, feel free to jump into the chat, or if you can think of anything, again, on the Facebook group, if you think of anything I missed, let me know, and I'll definitely bring it up next week. So let's see, we're 2 episodes in. As I said earlier, as far as I'm concerned, Loki is the best MCU show on Disney Plus. We're only 3 MCU shows into this new venture for the Marvel Studios, or Disney's Marvel Studios. I'm not going to say that every single time. All 3 of them are good. All right, WandaVision was excellent. I felt that it started off really strong. I really loved the kind of setting up a lot of questions, then the mystery, and I got really deep into the theories. And I felt like it kind of didn't stick the landing. The last couple of episodes were a little kind of lackluster, a little slow. And it really felt like it was too much setup for Doctor Strange 2 and the Multiverse of Madness. We know for sure that Wanda is going to be a part of that movie, a major part of that movie. My guess is that the whole storyline, the whole storyline was going to be her going with Doctor Strange and trying to revive or bring her kids back to life, bring Vision back to reality or back to her. And that could still be the case. That could be just a small part of it. Who knows? But it was really more set up than anything else. So it wasn't my favorite as far as the endings go. Then we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which didn't really ask a ton of questions, didn't set up a lot of mystery. It was very straightforward. It was about Sam Wilson. Should he or should he not be the new Captain America? What it meant for a black man to be Captain America, and just kind of coming to terms with that as a nation, but also as a hero. Again, phenomenal show. I thought it was a little too short. It could have used a couple more episodes. Otherwise, everything about it was great. I love the introduction of U.S. Agent. I love the way they set him up. I love, Bucky and Sam's kind of dynamic together. They really, they fight with the best of them. The buddy cop duo was awesome. And I don't think I wouldn't say that it didn't stick the landing, but I don't think it set any major ending up for it to have some landing to miss, if that makes sense. So it did what it wanted to do. It set him up. It successfully transferred the Captain America shield to Sam Wilson. I'm very happy that he's getting his own movie, and I look forward to his movie. But it was almost like a stepping stone for what I believe is right now the most important show or most important thing we've seen until Black Widow, which I don't know how important that's going to be, but we'll get there. And that's Loki. We're only 2 episodes into Loki, and already I just get this feeling in my gut that it is completely setting up Phase 4. So my understanding is that Phase 4 does not officially start until Black Widow releases next month. So what we've seen so far, it almost seems like is like a precursor, almost like, the comic book issued before the major storyline starts. That's what we're seeing right now. And Loki, I feel like, is the last piece of that puzzle, especially we're 2 episodes in. After this last episode, I feel like there's a lot of connecting the dots that's happening between future movies, future storylines, and what have you. I still, in my gut, feel that Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe is more of putting characters in place and introducing certain heroes to give us a proper next 10 years of Marvel movies. So Phase 1 was all about introducing the main heroes of the Infinity Stone Saga, whatever they're calling it, or the Thanos Saga, whatever you want to call it. So the Phase 1 was literally about introducing the big players for what was going to be the MCU up to that point. I feel like Phase 4 is the same thing. We're going to have a new Thor after Thor Love and Thunder. We already have a new Captain America. We're going to have a new Hawkeye. Clearly the Young Avengers are coming. They're setting up Fantastic Four very subtly, very slowly, but they're setting them up. They're setting up, I believe, Mephisto as the big bad. And I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to that theory. But they're setting him up, again, very subtly, very slowly, but they're setting him up to be the big bad. What I'm trying to say is that I think these movies that are going to make up Phase 4 are all it's all set up. It's all basically going to introduce certain characters, do certain things, certain villains, and what have you, certain breadcrumbs. And we're not going to get our proper build up to the next major Avengers Endgame style movie until we start with Phase 5, and then Phase 5 and 6 and probably 7 will be the main kind of event or the build up to the main event, the undercard, if you will, for what's coming. So, and we're gonna go through a few images I have here, but the first one is Mephisto. So clearly, Marvel's kind of playing with our expectations here a little bit. This is an image from episode 1, the little girl in that church that Mobius was checking out, investigating the attack by the variant. This is the image that she pointed to when he said who was the one who attacked. Now I know what Marvel wants us to think. Hey, Icon, One Shot, what is going on, man? Thank you for jumping in. Let me know before I continue. Just make sure you let me know if you have any theories. I'm going to talk about your Loki theory pretty shortly. But feel free to jump in with a comment, and let's get to it. So what I was talking about is Mephisto. I think WandaVision had a lot of hints that Mephisto was coming. And by the end of WandaVision, all that kind of died away. Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier didn't really go through with that much, but didn't hint at Mephisto a lot. I don't think Mephisto is off the table. I just think that Marvel's taking their time. I don't think that they want to announce some major villain so close to proximity of Thanos. They want to give us time to breathe, let these characters kind of have their own stories. Not everything needs to be a universe-ending threat. So I still think Mephisto's coming. I still think we're going to see him, whether it's a one-and-done movie or he's in it for a whole bunch of movies and he shows up in a major event movie. That's up to Marvel. But I'm telling you, I do not think that we're done with Mephisto. There's just too many hints. One Shot says, good deal. Sorry I couldn't be on the stream with you. Daddy duties are important. Hey, We're all fathers. We're all husbands. You do what you got to do. Don't worry about it. Hey, Zuplex City, what's going on, man? I listen. You're another one. I want to have you on in a week or two because I want to hear your thoughts too on what's going on with Loki. So I think Mephisto is coming. I don't think this image was really, or I should point over here on this side. I don't think this image really was just like a cheeky kind of, oh, you guys all thought Mephisto was coming. Here's a joke. I think he's really coming, and I think this is kind of what he's going to look like. This is like the first almost previs, if you will, for the character. And I think it's just their way of kind of saying, like, look, we haven't forgotten what you guys said. We haven't forgotten all the clamoring for Mephisto. It's just we're not there yet. You know, it's easy to say that Loki has the horns, so these people are confusing him for the devil. But, you know, the red and gold robe, Loki doesn't wear that. I know he can shapeshift, but, you know, we'll get into that later. But I don't think this was just a regular, like, one-off, here's a quick picture to make you laugh and smile and kind of make the comic book nerds go, oh, shit. I think we're getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Mephisto is coming. That's the first major thing from episode 1. The second major thing from episode 1, and I'm just going to focus on some of the major things that I think are big deals. I'm not going to go into all the tiny little, Easter eggs that, are from previous Marvel properties. The second big thing is right here, the drawer, that's a funny word, the drawer full of Infinity Stones. So one of the things that I had said, and I've said this about Star Wars, and I've said this about the MCU, they can't just keep doing the same things over and over again. You can't have everything be about the Infinity Stones. You can't have Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor as your only main heroes. You need to move on. So, as much as people are missing Iron Man, and I know we're going to get, Riri Williams is coming to the MCU and a Disney Plus show. We already got a new Captain America. We already have Jane Foster's going to be Thor, at least for one movie. I know we're getting replacements for those characters, but we have to have other characters, other events, other powers, things like that. And one thing I didn't want, me personally, and this could be an unpopular opinion, is I didn't want phases 4, 5, 6, 7, and 35 to still be talking about the Infinity Stones. I know there's a precedent in the comic books where the stones almost reincarnate as people, and there's always almost like a representation of the stones in the universe. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them being involved, but I don't want them to be the MacGuffin that everyone is going for at all times, and we just keep building up to somebody who collects them all, and then all of a sudden we got to stop them. The big question going into these next Marvel properties was, what are we going to do? There are no more stones. Oh, I'm sorry. There were stones, in the current timeline, there are no more stones because they were returned back to the old timeline. Thanos destroyed the stones from the current timeline. So a big question was, how is Doctor Strange going to manipulate time? How is Wanda still going to use her powers and Vision be alive and all that stuff? I love that in this one image right here, and this one quick shot, Marvel basically said to us, all right, forget the stones. We're not dealing with them anymore. I think it's just genius to show that the stones, while they are all powerful, there are things more powerful than they are. So much so that the TVA just doesn't even give a shit about them. Icons, or I keep calling you Icons, man. You got to take that off your name. One shot says there is no Mind Stone in that box, is there? You're absolutely right. There is no Mind Stone. The yellow stone is missing. So there's a theory about that I've read that, that's a hint that maybe what we're seeing right now is really all in Loki's mind, that he's somehow screwed up because of it, and it's just kind of messing with him, that the reality we're watching is the veil is going to be pulled back and it's not going to be what we think. That's possible. It definitely is possible, and I think it's even more possible after this episode, the second episode, I should say. But again, I like it. I'm going to go with the fact that the stones just don't matter anymore. And somebody in the prop department just forgot to throw a yellow stone into the drawer there. I like the idea that they mean nothing anymore. And, while, I guess they're still a big deal, it's not something that we need to focus on. This was a great image, and you can see in here there's a few other things. There's a wooden dagger, which some people say are hinting towards Blade coming to the MCU. There's a few other items. There's an arc reactor hidden somewhere in that picture, and a deactivated one, kind of to show, I guess, that Iron Man is not as big a deal anymore. Who knows what that means? Obviously, there could be meaning to all of it. It could just be a quick gag for this series, and then we go back to our normal timeline, and all of a sudden the stones are big deals again. But I don't want them to be a big deal. I want to move on. I want to move forward. They exist. Great. Let's keep going. Yeah. So that was that. And now from the first episode, also the big thing, everyone keeps talking about Kang the Conqueror. This image popped up when Miss Time was basically catching Loki up to speed. One shot says, could it be possible they're showing the House of M storyline where Wanda makes everyone see the things they want? Now that is a phenomenal idea. We learned in WandaVision that she's the Scarlet Witch, but that she's like super powerful, more powerful than even she knew. We're gonna find out, I believe, in Doctor Strange 2 that she is a Nexus element or whatever, or I think they call it from the comics. I can't remember exactly what the term was, but essentially that she can travel through realities, she can manipulate stuff, realities on her own, and like she's one being from that. She's one of a handful of beings that can do that. That could be part of what we're seeing here. But what kind of goes against that one shot is that in Avengers Endgame, Loki did leave with the Tesseract. So, that was before the WandaVision show. So I don't know 100% sure if that, I can't say that's for the case. Nexus level being Zuplex City. Thank you for correcting me. I don't know if that's 100% the case, but there could be some play in there. I mean, they kind of can do whatever they want. It looks like the MCU right now, especially with the Loki show, is not adhering to the comic books 100%, but they clearly borrow from the comic books. So, we don't know. It's hard to kind of pick and choose storylines that we're going to see. It's obviously little bits and pieces from various lines that they mesh together. Zuplex City says she remains a constant in every universe. Now, my question is, in the MCU, especially in the movies, are they going to do that, or are they just going to somehow almost like simplify it and say a Nexus level being is just somebody who's aware of the different realities and timelines and can just travel amongst them? Like, what if I was to throw out there, what if Kang the Conqueror is a Nexus level being? There's a theory out there right now. Now, Kang should be the guy in the middle, right over here. That's, to me, who looks the most like him. And I've read a theory that he is actually controlling the TVA. That people think that there is no timekeepers. There's no 3 different timekeepers. He took over, and he's running the sacred timeline. And that we're going to get some big reveal that he's kind of behind everything, whether it's in Loki or in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, because we know that Kang is going to be in that movie. Someone was cast as Kang. So again, anything can happen. Speaking of Ant-Man 3, though, and connecting it back with Kang, we know Kang is going to be in Ant-Man 3. We know that the city that the TVA resides in operates outside of time and space. And we also know in Ant-Man 1, in the quantum realm, we saw a quick shot of a city in the quantum realm. So my guess is the TVA is in that city. They're a part of it. They exist in the quantum realm, which allows them to travel through time and space at will, essentially. They've just figured out a way to harness it. I think it would make a lot of sense if Kang is either behind it as either a bad guy, or maybe he is just one of the timekeepers and he's in charge. Maybe. So another theory I have, before I kind of move on, before I get off topic here. Now this is something I'm not sure if I read this 100%, but this is kind of what I'm thinking. So the head right behind the judge in this image here is, I believe, Kang also. And in this episode in particular, to me, it was pretty clear that the judge is hiding some things, and that she's not 100%, all good, if you will. Specifically, there were a few things in her office that Mobius didn't recognize. She made, the comment that he's not the only analyst she has out in the field. And he even made the joke that pen maybe came from her secret analyst on the side. It seems to me like she is definitely keeping some sort of secrets. And I'm wondering if, in the comic books, I believe she's the one that Kang is like in love with. He tries to impress her, similar to how in the comic books, Thanos tried to impress Lady Death or the Grim Reaper. Kang loves this judge character, and I can't think of her freaking name for the life of me. But I'm wondering if, as a timekeeper in the show, they're going to reveal that him and her have some sort of like little side fling going on. or just a side kind of partnership, and the goal is for the two of them to take over the TVA and do whatever they want. And because of that, this is one of the reasons why they don't want Loki helping Mobius, because she knows that maybe he's one of the ones who can kind of see through her nonsense or through her secrets. I feel like that's a pretty plausible theory. It's a little different than what you find in the comic books, but it would fit the show. It would help kind of what's the word, like kind of bring everything together. It would help kind of give it a nice through line. And it just seems, after this episode in particular, it just seems like that she is hiding some shit, and there's gonna be a lot more to what she's about than we realize. So that's one of the theories that I kind of thought of as I was watching the second episode. Sorry, all this talking hurts my throat. So moving on from that, let's turn these guys off. Lady Loki, big reveal for anyone who watched this newest episode. The time variant that the TVA is chasing is Loki, but a female version. I don't know, I guess if it's right to call her Lady Loki, because I know Loki is gender fluid. So in the comics, from what I understand, Lady Loki essentially appeared after Ragnarok, where Loki dies but gets reincarnated as a woman. It's like a whole big thing in the comic books where Thor is basically trying to find the Asgardians who all were reincarnated and kind of remind them who they are. Obviously, that's not exactly what happened in the movies. This Loki, though, seems like she could be a little more powerful or a little stronger than the Loki we know. And I'm wondering if this Loki in particular, if they're going to say for her timeline, she survived Ragnarok when she wasn't supposed to, and maybe her goal, where I think we're going to find out, not so much that she's necessarily a bad guy, but that she wants to change her past, undo Ragnarok, because in her timeline, Asgard was destroyed, Thor was destroyed, her whole family was destroyed, and she wants to undo that. And the only way to undo that is to take over the TVA, get control of the sacred timeline, and then you can make it whatever you want. I thought the reveal for her character was awesome. The kind of fight scene where Loki was kind of getting his ass beat by random people in the supermarket was fun. And I don't think that our Loki going through the portal at the end to chase after Lady Loki, I think it was more of like he didn't have enough time to explain. He just had to get after her, and he's still trying to save the day. It's pretty clear that Loki is no longer a bad guy. They want him to be a hero, and I'm all for it. Tom Hiddleston is phenomenal. He does a great job as Loki, so I'm all for him doing that. But I do think that it also explains why in the trailer, so her bomb essentially set up all these different timelines, and they basically created this giant branch off the sacred timeline. And we were told before the show started that it was going to be about our Loki helping the TVA go back to all these different moments in time and fixing the timeline so that it's correct. I think clearly we basically saw the setup for all that, and for the next few episodes, at least next 2 episodes, that's what we're going to be watching. And I think that's going to explain a few things. I think that's going to explain, why in the trailer it looks like Loki goes back to Vormir and talks to Black Widow. I know in the trailer we also see him go into what looks like a destroyed New York City. So it kind of all ties in. The setup was kind of done perfectly, I think, and I'm excited for what comes next. But more than that, I'm excited for what this image here means. My hope, I should say, this isn't a gut instinct. This is just my thinking. My hope is that they don't fix the timeline by the end of the show. We keep hearing these rumors, and I'm talking about Spiderman No Way Home, and I know I've talked about it a million times, but I can't stress enough. I feel like between that and Doctor Strange 2, those are going to be Avengers-style major movies. I don't think people are realizing how big a deal these movies are going to be. And the fact that we know Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro, Alfred Molina is back as Doc Ock. There's the rumors that Green Goblin from the Tobey Maguire movies are coming back. Willem Dafoe, I mean. We also know that there's going to be probably a new villain in the movie, for this particular movie. There's rumors that Paul Giamatti is coming back. There's heavy rumors that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be making an appearance. This image explains why they would all show up. There's branches in the timeline. If they fix this timeline by the end of the show, then I have no idea how they're going to explain, all those characters being in the next Spider-Man movie. This is the setup right here that I kind of have been waiting for, and I think this almost certainly clarifies why we're going to see those characters. Zuplex City says Secret War possibly. I 100% think, Zuplex, that we're going to see a Secret Wars movie. But I think, Kevin Feige's a smart dude. That's a huge movie. It can be done in one movie, 1 3-hour, event movie. But I don't think we're ready yet. I think the rest of Phase 4 is going to be basically branching off, if you will, pun intended, of this. I think we're going to see every movie is going to be having time variance and different characters causing problems, and we're not going to understand, where we weren't before understanding where they came from, and now we do. One Shot says you better put some respect on Willem Dafoe's name. Listen, man, there's a lot of names running around in this head, and I can't remember them all like that. I apologize if I disrespected the Dafoe. I feel like you didn't spell his name right, but we'll get to that another time. I think this, so in Spider-Man No Way Home, all those characters are showing up because they're all variants from the different timelines. I don't think that they're necessarily from the movies we saw. They're just the same characters from those movies. So what I mean by that is we know that Alfred Molina, he let it slip in an interview that his character's scenes or storyline in the next Spider-Man movie starts at the moment he is in the water at the end of Spider-Man 2. At the end of Spider-Man 2, we see him sink and basically, he just dies. But now we see this Doc Ock is gonna appear in No Way Home somehow. So I think it's gonna be almost like a different timeline where Doc Ock survives that moment instead of dies at that moment. Same thing with Electro, because we also know that Electro, Jamie Foxx has said he's not going to look the same. He's not going to be blue like he was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's going to look like Jamie Foxx, but he's going to be Electro. He's probably going to have a suit or something. So he is Electro, but he's not the same exact Electro. I think that's also going to explain that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire maybe are not going to act exactly the same. Tobey Maguire, it'll explain if he's in his 50s and he's kind of been doing this for a long time. Same thing with Andrew Garfield. It just kind of explains so much. It really sets up a lot, and it connects the dots. It really does. There's a big rumor that Black Widow is going to be around after her movie. Scarlett Johansson mentioned that she's going to have a trilogy. One Shot says, "I'll fight you." Hey, listen, man. If you're going to fight me over Willem Dafoe, I honestly don't even know what to say. That's a little sad. Yeah, so there's a big rumor that Black Widow's gonna be back and she's having her own trilogy. Everyone was kind of wondering why, if it's all a prequel, but maybe at the end of her movie there's a time variant of Black Widow. I question whether we're gonna have more time variants of older characters show up. I think it's gonna be almost new actors in these roles that will be considered a time variant from whatever timeline they came from. Zuplex City. So I saw Chris Evans signing on again. I heard about that for one more appearance, I should say. I kind of think he has to be perfectly honest. I don't want to see him, headline a movie, but I wouldn't mind seeing him show up again, even if it's just a cameo in one of these shows or one of these movies, just as like a quick shot, just a quick ode to the character to show that he's still around, he's still doing his thing. I'm curious to know though if we get more information about that. I know they haven't fully officially said that yet. It was like a rumor, but listen, he's a smart guy and he wants money. He wants the fame. He's not going to say no to Marvel coming at him with a big contract. So what else? I think this also is going to. The big thing coming from the image that I have pictured here also is Tom Holland joining the Sony Spiderverse. It was accidentally slipped, I guess, a week or two ago that there is a plan in place to merge the Sony Spiderverse and the MCU. That makes me very excited with movies like Morbius and Venom with Carnage basically coming into play in the MCU. Where it doesn't make me happy is that they've basically already ruined Venom for me in particular by doing that. So, maybe they can undo that or redo it somehow with the branching timelines and introduce Venom the correct way, which is a symbiote from space. I want to see Tom Holland play like the mean kind of nasty version of Spider-Man with the black suit, which we got with Tobey Maguire. What else? I mean, I just think that there are so many connections. Let me look at my notes here and make sure I didn't miss anything, because there's just so much. I feel like there's so much to talk about. It's easy to miss a lot of stuff. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about. This is it. The last thing I wanted to talk about is there's a major theory going around right now and this kind of plays into the whole Kang is really the one in charge of the TVA, and in this episode, our Loki spent a good amount of time with Mobius, almost trying to hint to him that something doesn't feel right and that the TVA doesn't seem or the timekeepers don't seem like they're really benevolent. And the theory going on right now is that everyone who works at the TVA was a former time variant that had their mind wiped. And the big hint for that was Mobius talking about how much he loves jet skis from the 90s, even though technically he should never really... Like, what is it about that one particular item that he loves so much? People are saying that it's more of a hint that he was a time variant who from the 90s who did something to kind of break the timeline, got his mind wiped, and then was just basically forced into slavery at the TVA. And for whatever reason, maybe he was an avid jet ski rider, and that's memories kind of sticking with him. That's a very interesting theory. Again, so the thing with the TVA is I don't believe this is my own opinion. I don't believe they're going to be around longer than the Loki show. I think whatever happens in this show, they're going to be done, and then we're going to move on. We probably will still be dealing with timekeepers. We'll probably still be dealing with branching timelines and all that stuff. But the TVA as an entity, I don't know that they're going to live past this show, or if they're going to make it maybe past this show in one movie. One Shot says, have you ever tried to frown while riding a jet ski? No, I've never ridden a jet ski, so I guess I don't know. But that could be why he loves it so much, because he frowns a lot, and he doesn't like frowning. But yeah, so that is an interesting theory. I wouldn't mind seeing that come to play. I do think it's very close to maybe what's really going to happen, but I also think that Kevin Feige has his own roadmap, and we kind of just got to ride this wave. Again, to get off topic a little bit, it is ridiculous that we are now we're over 10 years into the MCU as a whole, and we still have quality products, quality movies, quality TV shows. We're talking about it constantly. It's just such a good, it's a good time to be a comic book fan. It's a good time to be a nerd. And we have big things coming up in the movies in particular. Loki has 4 more episodes, so there's a lot to cover over the next 4 weeks. And hopefully they cover it all. I mean, who knows if they can kind of stick the landing. It's a great start. Like I said, I feel like it's the best MCU show on Disney Plus. And very short wait till next month, and we got Black Widow. And then the one last theory, One Shot just kind of brought it up. Matt Damon better be a part of the variant they run into. One Shot told me the other day that in his mind, what he thought the time variant Loki was going to be was Matt Damon. So for those who have kept up with the MCU, you know that Matt Damon plays Loki, the fake Loki, I guess, in the play that Loki pretending to be Odin puts on in Asgard when Thor arrives back. And I got to say, One Shot, I agree with you, man. I want to see Matt Damon sign on for now we know he's in Thor Love and Thunder. And I think it's been confirmed that he's playing the same kind of character in a play. But I would love to find out that somewhere in one of these timelines, Matt Damon is actually Loki. Maybe, shall we say, the Dogma timeline. And that Loki is out there running amok, dressed as the MCU Loki, because the MCU was such a big thing in that timeline. That would be fantastic. It would be such a good bit of fan service. I would just love that so much. But yeah, so that's my deep dive for the first 2 episodes of Loki. One Shot, I just brought that up too. I think that's the it's the best tie-in. You know what I mean? If he shows up with Ben Affleck or with Chris Rock or anyone from the Dogma movie, and we find out that he's been causing problems in the timelines, and he's Loki. He's actually Loki. Yeah, so that's basically all I have to go on. Thank you guys for who jumped into the chat and gave me some feedback. There's so much to talk about. I'm sure I missed some stuff. Feel free in the Facebook group to comment on it. I'm going to post this on YouTube. I'll share it in Facebook also. Leave comments. Let me know what I missed or what I didn't talk about. And if you want to jump on a show and you want to talk about some stuff, let's do it. I'm looking for as many guests as possible. Please feel free. If you can be on camera, great. And if you can't, then we'll talk anyway. Otherwise, if you haven't already, join the social media channels: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Twitch and Twitter. We're everywhere and anywhere, and we have so much coming. We're growing. We're trying to bring this community together, and we have announcements coming, tournaments, and all kinds of stuff. Thank you guys for jumping in. Again, I am Spartacris. In case you didn't see my name over here, I gotta get my left and rights correct. With the Generational Gaming and Entertainment Network, and you can find us across all the social medias. And I will see you guys next Wednesday on the next episode of the Theater Room. That'll be episode 20, which is a milestone. And I'm looking hopefully have some guests, and we'll go even further into Loki and a few other things. Make sure you watch Dave on FXX. It's probably on right now. I believe there's 2 episodes. Make sure you watch Mythic Quest on Friday. That'll be coming out with a new episode, and we'll talk about all of it. And if there's any movies or shows you guys want to watch, you guys want to talk about, let me know. And keep an eye out for everybody from the Generational Gaming and Entertainment Network on Twitch, playing random games from Call of Duty to Avengers to Resident Evil Village to Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It goes on. And at some point, TheCaptain will stop ducking me, and we'll be putting up a Guitar Hero contest, maybe an NBA Jams contest, and whatever else we can think of. I will see you guys next week on Wednesday. I'll be on around 8:30, and let's just kind of keep enjoying the MCU that we have going. I'll see you guys next time.